What good timing. Stop doing that. Guys, I have been trying to record for about 20 minutes and just realized I don't think I hit record on the GoPro. Didn't. Said GoPro start recording. And there we go, guys. Let's go, man. Let's freaking go. Oh, boy. He choked that one good. That's a bummer. We've got players, though, at the ready. Stop that boat spinning. It's not even a big fish, but nonetheless, it feels good to get on one to start the weekend. All right, guys, not a bad fish. Probably a pound, maybe 1 1/4. Nothing crazy, but a good little start to the weekend. And now, let's get talking about some tackle, baby. All right. Well, folks, happy Tackle Tuesday. Joe Bob's Bass coming back at you here on the YouTube. You just saw that. That was a robo worm fish, guys. I told you, if you haven't checked out the Tackle Tuesday from, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, the robo worm, man. The best finesse worm that I've ever fished, and I mean that. So there's another one for you guys. And that came on, and like I said, I forgot to record, so here we are, kind of redoing everything I already talked about. We're just doing a little kind of mashup of a bunch of new little things that I've gotten from different companies, newer brands, some older stuff, some stuff that's been around a while that I just had never heard of. So we're just going to fish kind of a bunch of different things right here for a little bit. This is going to be a little bit different of a Tackle Tuesday video. This is going to be a lot longer. Normally I try to keep the videos about 5 minutes or so. This one might be a little bit longer just because we're going to fish. We're actually going to try these things out and give them kind of first impressions. I would not say reviews because this is really the first time I'm fishing a lot of this gear. So first up here, we've got the Daiwa Crossfire with medium light, 7 foot, Piscifun Carbon Prism, 2000 size. Carbon fiber handle, carbon fiber components, aluminum, all around the body. This thing feels incredibly quality, and I can tell you right now, just after catching that fish, this thing feels amazing. Amazing, guys. I've used a lot of, I wouldn't call them the most expensive reels on the market or anything like that, but some pretty high-end stuff. This is only $100 or so. It depends on, they have a lot of sales. Piscifun is a really great brand and all this stuff, and they'll do sales from time to time. But anyways, it just depends. It's like $110, $112 typically, I want to say, and then sometimes retail it might be like $149. So just watch out for those sales though, and you will not be disappointed. This thing feels amazing. So anyways, right now we're gonna put that back, and let's take out another new toy here. All right, so a couple things on this one as well. New frog. Gonna have to look up the name. My buddy Scott gave me this. You can see that is not your normal frog. What the hell is that thing off the back there, right? Really nice and soft like that. Good hook size. You got a pretty decent chance of getting a good hookup ratio there. And then this, as far as I know, it's kind of like a buzz frog. Almost like a buzz bait. Well, or whopper flopper, I should say, sorry. And really, I'm just kind of fishing it slow. You can kind of slow retrieve it, and that'll just nice and steady come back at you. Otherwise, you can kind of almost use it like a popper and pop, pop, pop. And that thing will really kick some water around. It's pretty cool. Anyways, we're just going to throw these at these reeds in these areas, see if that little male maybe had a female or two with him. And then also, guys, I'm throwing this on the Kastking Zephyr bait casting reel. It's about $50, and for that price point, guys, this might be, boy, I mean, it is, honestly, I've only thrown it for about 10 minutes, and it is very comparable to $100, $120, $130 reels, I would say. I wouldn't say it's quite up there with some of the, higher end Shimano stuff that I use and that kind of stuff, but it is up there as far as, for being $50, I would take this over my 13 Fishing Origin A in a heartbeat, guys. And it's like $40 less than that reel is. So I don't know, up to you guys. You make the decision, but I am absolutely loving it. And we're throwing that on a Handing. If you guys haven't heard of the brand Handing Fishing, check them out too, man. They are really cool. They've been around since about 2012. I really have only heard of them from TikTok. Of course, I mentioned TikTok a lot, but really that's where I find a lot of great stuff, guys. And they reached out to me on TikTok and said, hey, would love to have you throw one of our rods around and see how you like it. Guys, these rods, this rod, the 7'6" heavy, okay, this is about 70 or 80 bucks, if I remember correctly. They sent it to me for free to try out. And again, guys, like you are getting what you pay for. Yeah, this is not a cheap rod by any means. They are not some Chinese company that is trying to promote you and market to you and then rip you off, right? This is a very, very solid rod. I've thrown a lot of bigger baits on this rod. Big, soft swim baits. Handles it like a champ. So, all right. We're going to keep moving around here a little bit. But yeah, guys, that Kastking Zephyr, it's a 7:2-to-1 gear ratio bait caster. It's got a really unique and cool braking system. I don't know how to explain it, I guess, but it is different than a lot of conventional reels. And I've got the brakes off right now, and this thing casts a mile, and it is buttery smooth. I have not had a backlash yet, so take that as you will. But I am very impressed with it so far. So this frog, I really love how this frog fishes, how it casts, how the action works. Obviously, have not caught a fish on it yet, but we'll get over here into some more froggier territory in a little bit and pick it back up again. Just one more cast here with it and see what happens closer to these docks a little bit. All right, guys, next up, we've got a swim bait. First time I saw these, I was like, what the hell? I'm good. I don't need that. Nope. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on that. I saw them a couple times, and I was like, you know what? That looks pretty good. And then, guess what? I didn't go, but I saw a video of them at iCast, and I said, all right, let me try them out. So this is the biggest one that they make. This is 5.5 inches, 2 joints, mustad hooks, guys. Okay. Kind of a weird design here, right? The fish eating the fish, but guess what? When fish see, how many times have you saw a bass being followed by other bass, at least 1 or 2, when you were reeling them in, because they know that they're feeding, right? They get triggered by that. If one bass is feeding, if they're schooled up, if it's that time of a year, then they will also get triggered, right? So I think that's where this idea comes from. Now, this is a lipped swim bait, all right? So 5.5 inches, I believe it's 1.2 ounces. So you're gonna want a little bit heavier of a rod. I'm throwing this on my big old swim bait rod for now, at least. Casts like a dream. It is nice and heavy. And let's see how this thing swims, how it cranks, how deep it goes. There wasn't a whole lot of info on the package as far as that stuff goes. So let's see. Feels like it's going pretty deep, I'm not gonna lie. Wow. I'm just kind of a medium retrieve speed right here. Wow, guys, that thing gets down there, and that action is fantastic. Oh my gosh, guys. Here's the best part. I didn't even tell you, okay? This lure right here, I got to show you guys swim footage of this. I mean, this is really, I'm blown away right now. This is on sale right now for $12. I think typically it's like 15 or 16 bucks, okay? Oh, sorry, I forgot something. It's not just this lure. It's a 3-pack, man. You get 3 of these, 3 different colors for like less than a night out. Like for under $20, 15 bucks or so, you can get 3 of these. I'm really, really impressed at the moment. These things, they crank down deep. I don't know exactly how deep. I might have to look into that and write it on the screen, or maybe voice over here and tell you guys exactly how deep, but they feel good. That swim is super tight. It's a very, very good looking swim for a swim bait. Yeah, guys, this thing cranks down there. I'm going to have to do some research and figure out exactly how deep, but that thing is getting down at least 10 feet or so, I would say. And you can feel it. I mean, it is getting down there, but check those out, guys. If you're looking for a crank down style swim bait, that is definitely not going to disappoint you. All right, so now we're going to head over to a spot that I believe actually has some fish, and we're going to put this array of lures to the test. We've got the Kastking swim bait crank down. We've got the new Zephyr from Kastking bait casting reel with the insert name because I forgot it, frog here. We've got a Piscifun Carbon Prism reel on a Daiwa finesse rod, medium light 7-foot rod. So we're gonna be throwing some soft plaxis, more than likely the Robo Worm on that one. So those are our options. Oh, and I forgot, guys, one more. If we do get onto a finesse bite, which is really the only fish that we've caught, at least so far tonight, we've got this new color and really a way of rigging of the Emo Kamushi. I've got this on a screw lock hook this time. Normally I was throwing them on 3-4, maybe a 5/0 extra wide gap, and that worked great. However, you'd get like 2 fish, and as soon as that lure would slide up the line or rip off a little bit, it was kind of toast. So my buddy said, put it on a screw lock and it'll last longer. So we're giving it a try. Let's do it. Let's go fish. Let's find some fish. GoPro, stop recording. All right, folks. Actually, as we get closer to this island, it's pretty deep still. It's about 40 feet right here, and there's a bait ball down there. I'm going to throw this deep crank, at least for a minute here. Oops. And see if we can get anything. 77-degree water. This is a pretty large, I don't remember the acreage, but pretty long, pretty deep lake. It gets down to like 190 feet. And that's not like one little hole. It's like the whole middle of the lake. So it's a pretty big lake. So 77 is pretty good for the beginning of August here in Minnesota. So I'm just going to kind of slow roll. Obviously, with crankdowns, guys, obviously the quicker that you go, or if you kind of give it some rips, you'll get it down there a little bit deeper. And we're in 40 feet. So, I mean, I'm going to try to get it down there a little bit. But, of course, up to this island is a pretty big slope. So, as I'm casting that way, it's not 40 feet. Right there where that's about landing, that's probably 8. So, quite the difference. And we're going to go a little more to the left here. And we're going to kind of work back around this point so we can cast to that ledge more parallel rather than at it just going to deep, because if those fish are at 12 feet, as soon as that bait hits 15 or 20 feet, they're not going to just keep chasing it, right? They're just going to bail off. So you want to stay in that strike zone, as they call it. And biggest tip that I can give anybody, and I got to remind myself this 1,000 times every time that I'm out fishing, is slow down, especially with swim baits in Minnesota during the lull of the summer. I just get excited fishing, man, and I always just reel way faster than I should a lot of the time. So I've got to remember to chill out and just let that bait work. Let that bass see it, let it grab their attention, and hopefully we get some fish on it. Just a beautiful evening though, guys. Friday night out here. The Twins are playing. I would be listening to that right now. That is one of my absolute favorite things ever, is listening to the Twins on the radio. Sunset out on the lake. Man, I just don't know if there's really much better in life for me. So hands down, that's one of my favorite things to do. So there's quite a bit of weeds here. Now that we're up here at the island, I was throwing this crank just to kind of try it out around this edge a little bit more. And man, guys, yeah, that's getting down there probably 10 feet or so. And this I'm just throwing on my swim bait setup, guys. It's not necessary. I mean, this lure is probably a little heavy for your just conventional medium heavy bass rod, but if you're throwing like a heavy rod, it'd probably be fine. It's only 1.2 ounces. It's not like it's super heavy, but all right. I know there's some smallmouth up in here somewhere, so we're gonna give it just a couple more casts, see if we can get one of those bites. That would be so cool. There's one. Just kidding. I lost him. I lost him, guys. Fuck. Shoot. I had it. I had it right there. Okay, well, first off, I don't know why my drag is insanely loose. But we're going to make that same cast and see if there's a fish there still. Man. He was there, man. He was there. I felt a nibble. I went. I think I got him for a half a second. And just before those hooks could get in him, I think he spit it. All right, once this boat gets turned around, we're going to throw the Emo Kamushi from Geecrack on a new color. I ran out. The only places in Minnesota that I know of that sells them is Waypoint Angler Supply. Shout out Waypoint. They're awesome. But I just didn't. I ran out of these last weekend and didn't really have time this week at all. We just moved, so it did not have. I really didn't have any time to get down to Waypoint, and I didn't want to, ship them. And then, I just brought it up to my buddy Scott. Scott's the best, Sco Jangles, and he said, "Oh, dude, I've got a bunch. Like, just take a pack." And I said, "Awesome, brother. You're the best. Thank you. Please." And then he also said, "Use a screw lock." So that's what we're doing. And this is a different color. I've thrown kind of the black/gray/brown/blue. It's a weird color, guys, but I think that color works fantastic, but also it's the only color I've ever used. So he gave me these. I'm not sure. It's all in Japanese on the package. But they're like red and black. And the other ones that I had were kind of that conglomerate of colors. And this again too, you got red, you got black, you got kind of a lighter, a darker, almost pink, maroon, purpley body, like a June bug, with some of that purple/blue, maybe indigo colored flake in there. So there's a lot going on there. And I've found with these things, if you can just find a weed edge, they're also heavy and they're loaded with salt and they fall pretty fast. And you just let that thing fall. Once you've given it a couple seconds, you tighten your line up, and pretty much right then, every time you're going to know if you have a bite or not. It's really that simple. A few times I've gotten them after a pop or two, but most of the time it is right after that initial fall. And we got a little bit of weeds on there. And they skip really good too, guys. I don't fish them under docks a whole lot. Like I said, I really try to find the weed lines most of the time, where you're by shallower water and then it goes to a deeper water. I'm throwing them a lot of times on those edges of that weed edge. And but they skip tremendously. So if you're fishing docks with them like a jig, it's almost like a jig without actually having a jig, right? There's those frillies on there that are kind of like a jig skirt. It's loaded with salt, so it's heavy. It doesn't fall fast as a jig, but it falls pretty fast. So keep that in mind when you're fishing it. Ooh. Man, this trolling motor is just too is just not quite fast enough, and 3 seems to be a lot faster. So it's kind of a real tough game that we play. A lot of weeds right there. I'm going to try a little further out here. I know this area pretty well, so I'm not worried about... Right, I just know where I'm casting, right? I've fished this lake a lot, and this, like I said, this lake is big. I fish a very few select areas a ton. And not just because that's where I've caught fish, it's because I am intentionally doing that. I'm trying to learn areas of this lake at a time before just like saying, oh, let's buzz to the north end because maybe that's where the fish are at. Like, no, I'm saying I'm going to fish every spot of this bay for 3 months before I try another spot. And that's what I've been kind of doing, especially this summer. I've really been limiting myself mainly to this bay. There's another bay down that way that I've fished a ton as well. Not as much this year, though. And what else? Yeah, down that end, if you go around this bay and down to the very south end of the lake, southwest end, I guess, there's a little creek. And so hopefully tomorrow, maybe that'll be a different video for you guys. We are going to fish that creek. I really hope so anyways. So we'll try it out and see what happens. And there's a beaver over there, big old beaver. Kind of shocked that the Imukamushi has not really had any action yet, guys. Really weedy here. The weeds, first off, it's been about a month, a little over a month, since I've had the boat in working condition. So we've been on the kayak a lot, so this feels awesome to be able to stand here and cast and control with a trolling motor and be really mobile on the water is just something that we've been missing for the last few weeks. Like I said, probably a little over a month now. I'm trying to think, 4th of July. Oh, 4th of July I wasn't here. Yeah, so it's been a little over a month since we've been out on the boat, actually. So anyways, we're going to throw this Imukamushi just a couple more times. Then we might switch over to that roboworm, just being that was the one bite that we've actually had so far tonight. And as the sun continues down, we might buzz over that way to some lily pads and try that frog out again. I got to remember the name. It's going to be right here again. That frog that I cannot remember the name for the life of me. But really cool little frog. Man. Where are these fish? Like I said, it's been 2 weeks now since I've been up here again, so those fish are definitely moving into a later summer pattern. As we're middle of summer now, beginning of August. Ooh, that might have been a little something. Oh, listen to those waves. Hopefully you guys can hear that a little bit at least. Just a frickin' fantastic night out here, Minnesota, man. If you don't know, yeah, we've got winters, but the summers just make it, the winters make the summer that much better, and boy, do we have some awesome summertime weather, man. All right, we're going way out to that deep end of this weed point. Seeing what we can do. It says it's 16 feet right here. That is crazy, this drop-off. I mean, there's 2 feet of water 10 yards that way. It is a very significant slope here. So, and it's riddled with weeds. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to find where these fish are at over here sometimes. But, man, I've caught some pretty nice smallmouth here in the past. So that's why I always keep coming back here. We're going to give this Imukamushi a few more casts here. So unfortunately, only the one fish at the opening of the video so far, but we've got about maybe 45 minutes of light where you guys can see me at least left. I'll be able to see for another hour or so, but camera is going to start not picking it up quite as good pretty soon here. Man, and even in these shallow rocks, just nothing yet. This boat would be my absolute dream boat if it had 2 things. Spot lock or just really a better trolling motor. This one does the job, right? We're moving, especially when we're fishing real slow and finessey like this, trying to find fish and not just locked on a spot. You know, you don't need anything crazy, but spot lock would be nice for when you do find those fish. Ooh, there was a nibble there. And then a graph. This has just got a Piranha Max 4 on there. So something with at least down imaging. You know, next step up would be like side imaging would be really cool. And of course, if we could ever afford it, something like 360 or a live scope would be awesome. I think I actually see some fish right off this ledge. Maybe not. Can't quite tell. I thought I saw kind of a big black mark move, but no movement now. So, all right, let's give the Emo one more cast, and then, like I said, it is getting kind of dark here. Man, that's the second time something is jumping right here. A lot. What is this? One or two more off of this weed line. See, now it's reading 6 feet, and I think that's just because the weeds are so high off of this point. I think it's actually a fair amount deep. Well, no, it does say it's just 5 feet here. That's crazy. Because on the same line, about 15 yards behind us, it was 20, right? So, but that's why I would like something like forward facing or just 360, so you get a bigger picture of kind of everything, so that I know, like, I know this is a weed line and a drop off, but just to be able to see kind of exactly where it's at and how kind of steep of a drop off it is. I mean, that stuff is game changing, right? So we've got two options now. We can buzz to the spots that I've been catching them the last couple weeks and try those, which I think is what I'm going to do. Or we could stay here, try something new, and fish this point here a little bit heavier this weekend with those pencil reeds. But I'm kind of curious to check out the other end of this bay and see if those fish are still over there from a few weeks ago. Because there were some good ones, man. There were some good ones. Man, that guy just flew down here in his boat, whipped a Yui, and is now flying back the other way. Interesting. All right, so we're going to the robo worm, guys. Interesting. Man, how much battery do we have? Oh, we're running a little low. Might want to plug that in here soon. We will see. But we're switching to the robo worm, and yeah, man, I love these hooks, Scott. Thank you, brother. Just fantastic. Hell yeah. All right, going back to the medium light rod. Going back to the... Oh, come on. Come on now. Oh, yeah. Don't clip that. And we're going to go to a different, very different style of weed. Ledge, edge, plateau, flat, I guess, a rocky point. It's kind of a conglomerate of a lot of things. But we're going to fish around this. Sun just went down behind the trees, and we've got probably about 30 to 40 minutes left. GoPro battery, we're not at that amount, so we will see, but hopefully we can get a couple more fish. This is what we started the video with, guys, was this robo worm hooks, and this is Aaron's Magic color in that 6-inch straight tail robo worm. Come on. That wind really pushed me out a little bit. I stopped right here about to tie on, and it pushed me way out that way. I think that battery just tripped. Yep, and it did it again. That's okay, we're getting about to where we need to be, so. This reel though, guys, the Carbon Prism Piscifun 6.2-to-1, 2000 size. I think they had a 500, 1,000, 2, and 3, or maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4,000. Not sure, but this thing, it's so light, guys. I mean, I could throw this for days and not get tired. A medium light rod with this reel on it. Oh my gosh, guys, it's butter. It is just butter. It really feels like I have nothing in my arm. So guys, in this setup, like I said, this reel, a lot of people, there's a big debate, I should say, between should you buy a more lower end reel in a really nice rod, or should you buy a high end reel in a lower or middle end rod? And I would say that you can make this is a fantastic combo, guys. For $30 for the Stiowa Crossfire, one piece rod, cork handle. I mean, this thing is so worth the money. I think it was actually $28 at Flea Farm, and then taxes. So, but and then this reel from Piscifun, this Carbon Prism, is only about $110, and if it's on sale, you can get it for even less than that. And man, guys, it is so buttery smooth. It casts like a dream. I mean, and it's all metal and it's carbon fiber. So I mean, this thing could last me very easily the rest of my life. Now this one came pre-oiled up and all that, so I didn't have to do anything. The Zephyr from Kastking that we were doing earlier, I noticed that it definitely could use an oiling a little bit, but it's casting like a dream, so I don't really even want to mess with it. The handle just felt like it could maybe use a little bit of that lube on there, that real lube, you know what I'm saying? All right, guys, I don't think this is it, though, tonight. The RoboWorm, it caught that one little tiny bass earlier. And in the past, I've caught some big fish on it right around here. So if that's not the thing, let's go back to, just because we're around these weeds, let's go back to the Emo Kamushi just for a few here. Oh my gosh, guys, is that a bowfin? Eat this, eat this. There's a huge bowfin underneath me here. Huge bowfin, oh my gosh. These weeds have filled out. These weeds have filled out a good amount in the last 2 weeks. That's the dream right there, though. The dream flip. After this, we're going to switch to the topwater because I just got a feeling that that frog at this low light hour, I should be throwing it right now, honestly. Oh, that didn't feel like weeds. That felt like a rip. So, bass like to hang around rock bass, sunfish, all that, because, well, they'll eat them sometimes. So, if there's bait fish here, bait fish meaning bass's prey sometimes, there definitely could be some bass, but... All right, let's switch to the frog and loop around and cast this shoreline here. So now we're going to switch over to this name inserted here, frog, that I'm going to throw around a little bit here, kind of at the end of the night. Again, we're throwing this on 50-pound Yozuri braid. We're throwing this on the Zephyr. That's what I'm calling it. From Kastking, and oh my gosh, dude, it casts the whole spool of this 50-pound braid. Now, I put 50-pound braid on here originally because I was going to start by using it as a punching setup. And 50-pound braid is fine for frogging. I just think it's a little bit overkill sometimes. You definitely can get by with 40, maybe even 30. 50 is a lot, I think, for just frogging. But anyways, I put it on here, and this thing, if I bomb a cast out, it gets that spool pretty close to empty. So take that as you will, right? Like I said, it is 50-pound braid, but it's also kind of a small-ish spool. Now, if you're putting on 15 or even 12 or 10-pound fluoro, you know, you're not going to have to worry about spooling off. And I'm also I was trying to chuck that frog way up there into those weeds. Which there I did that time. That's probably a 20-yard cast or so. And, I mean, I got half a spool left, you know, so. Man, guys, that thing just casts so good. And it feels good. I mean, it feels really, really solid. Really, I would like this, like if I would probably, and I might actually, it says, I think on the description that this is an oversized handle. I think that might be more so referring to the actual pads that the handles that your fingers are on, because those do feel nice and big. However, the shank of the reel, the shank of the, man, what do you call that? The shank of the handle is a little smaller. So I might actually, if I'm continuing to throw this and enjoy this reel as much as I am right now and I have tonight, I definitely might upgrade that to just something a little bit longer. Not a ton. Like, it still feels good, right? It doesn't feel small. I just also am used to, like, my Tranx 200 and my Corrado DC, you know, like those are a little bit longer for sure than this one. So, and it's not much. I mean, even just looking at it, the Corrado DC might be a centimeter longer, which I guess when you are talking about reel handles, that can be a pretty significant little amount, you know. So, man, I just want a top water bite, especially on this reel, man. That would be so cool to end the night on a nice 3-pound largie on the top water, man. Or smallmouth. I know there's smallmouth around here. I've caught them. So, I mean, hell, right here off this rock point and this weed edge, I've caught more smallmouth than largemouth probably in the last 2 or 3 years. So, how deep are we here? 11 feet? Okay. All right. That was awesome. I'm going to see if maybe these bass are a little deeper real quick here with the swim bait from Handing M1 Fishing. And it's a crank down. Let's give it a try. Ah, got some weeds right away there on that cast. So the best thing, in my opinion, about these lures is the action is fantastic, and the Mustad hooks, man. These things are sharp as a tack or a needle or a, you know, I don't know, something that's sharp. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, we are running out of light quickly. I know you guys are probably having a hard time seeing me. I'm going to fish for a little bit more. I will keep recording. If anything happens, it happens. If not, thank you guys for tuning in to this new edition of Tackle Tuesday here on Joe Bob's Bass. But, if we catch a fish or two here, I'll definitely throw it in the video, but it might just be a little bit dark. Anyways, we will see you guys next week. Thank you, and we'll probably be back. Like I said, a little life fill-in. We just moved, so my garage in the next video that we are in the garage for will not look the same as it did in the last video. It'll look drastically different, actually. And yeah, so we'll get back to that. I think it's going to be pretty cool going forward. Got a lot of cool new tackle to review. Super excited to get through all of it with you guys. And again, if you guys have any tackle suggestions, something that, you know, it doesn't have to be something weird or crazy or off the beaten path. I mean, half the stuff that I do is very known lures or companies. So don't feel like it has to be something obscure. If it is, I would love to try it. If you can, you know, just message me a link or send me an email at joebobsbass@gmail.com. That's simple, joebobsbass@gmail.com. And, you know, send me a link or something like that. I would love to see what you guys have for suggestions, honestly. So keep them coming. Love the feedback on the videos too. You know, I've gotten comments of all array of things, you know, people's experiences with the bait, people telling me that I'm doing stuff wrong, people telling me that, you know, they've changed what they did because what I said in my video and it worked, and they felt the need to come back and comment, and that is awesome. So thank you guys for that feedback, really. And I been doing this for about half a year now, almost 6 months, and man, I can't imagine going back anytime soon. I really do like putting out these pretty simple, typically weekly videos with you guys and just sharing a little bit of fishing knowledge and hopefully learning a little bit of fishing knowledge from you guys as well. Pretty soon I also hope to have like an about me video that I'm going to put out and just kind of talk a little bit more about my fishing experience and, you know, the lakes that I fish and kind of all that stuff that might help you if it relates to you in that sense of the type of lakes that I fish and if they're similar to the types of lakes that you fish. So, and that's pretty much what I'm basing my tackle reviews off. I've never once reviewed a piece of tackle that I haven't used, like a good amount. So this today, with kind of trying these new products and giving you my opinions on them, just kind of as the evening went on, was a very just kind of new trial thing. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do that tonight, and I think it was. I think other than not really catching any fish, Grandpa's not talking to me. He's not telling me where they're at tonight. But typically, we're catching fish, and a lot of these lures, like this Emo Kamushi here, I just know I'm about to catch a fish on it. I'll tell you right now. It's going to happen. But thank you, guys. We'll see you back in the garage next week. All right. Big old smallie up north. Dominating that Emo Kamushi right here at sundown, man. What a beautiful night. 17-incher. Not the biggest smallmouth I've ever caught by any means, but back to the rocks he goes. All right, guys, another one on the Emo Kamushi from Geecrack. Not quite as big. This one's probably still long, though. Man, I don't want to measure it, but it's about 16 inches, a lot skinnier than that first one. But man, they are loving it. That's right after we just caught that chunky boy. Let's keep going, huh? Sun's going down. Beautiful evening.